capital exchange, joint collaboration and partnership will only yield multiple benefits for Africa and the sixth region. So it's imperative that this moment is accelerated. The actions taken will benefit 1.4 billion people across the world. The future is filled with great hope and possibilities. Greater collaboration and cooperation will rebound to benefit in both regions. And of course, we can't forget, most recently, G20 has now become G21. So I'd love to give everyone in this room a round of applause for the meeting. Now, we are going to get started with our Executive Director of the Center for Economic and Leadership Development and publisher of the Amazon's Watch magazine. I think our doctor is right here, great. Let's give a huge round of applause for our welcome address for Mrs. Ideforo Kenjiami.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, we're starting slightly late. Good afternoon, Your Excellencies, ladies and the few gentlemen here. Welcome to the Global Power Women Conference 2023. I believe that we're here, seated in this room today because we are united by a common purpose: to redefine the narrative of leadership and impact through the lens of women around the world. United also by a shared vision of a world where women are not just participants but leaders, not just dreamers but doers. We're here to honor the audacity of hope, the power of resilience, the spirit of transformation that women leaders around the world embody. These are women who dare to dream, dare to challenge conventions, disrupt norms, transform their respective fields, and dare to lead. They have not just left footprints on the sands of time, but have also carved pathways for future generations. This conference is more than just a gathering or an event. It is a celebration of our collective strength, our shared vision, and our unwavering belief in the power of women, the strength of diversity, and the impact of transformational leadership. It is about recognizing that each one of us is a beacon of change. So over the next few hours, we will hear stories that will inspire, ideas, insights that provoke thoughts and challenge our perspectives. We will learn from women who have braved storms, and I mean storms, climbed mountains and shattered glass ceilings. Their journeys are a testament to their courage, their resilience, and their unwavering commitment to make a difference. And at this point, I would wish to take time
We don't want you to
acknowledge the presence of our amazing lineup of speakers who have sacrificed their time, precious time today, to be here to share their insightful thoughts with us. I acknowledge the presence of Her Excellency, Josa Osmani, the President of the Republic of Lesotho. Her Excellency Melissa Santoki Sinacheri, the First Lady of Suriname. And although not present but will join us shortly is Her Excellency Angeline Ngarishimie, First Lady of Burundi. And our friends in the House, Honorable Rosalind Myers, Member South Carolina House of Representatives, seated here. Also a friend, Honorable D. Dawkins Leila, the former chair of the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus and founder of the Association of Women Leaders. Thank you so much. Time will fail me to mention all of these amazing speakers. More we'll be hearing from shortly, and the Master of Ceremony will be introducing them to us. But this conference is not just about our speakers. It is about you. It is about recognizing that each one of you, or all of us, have a role to play in shaping our world, and understanding that leadership is not just about power nor authority, it is about influence, and a realization that transformation is not limited to the concept of change, but largely revolves around impact and leaving a legacy. Thank you all for being here. You are not just attendees. You are pioneers, you are visionaries, you are change makers. Together, we can transform the world. And so, as the Executive Director of the Center for Economic and Leadership Development, I hereby declare the conference open. Once more, I welcome you to the Global Power Women Conference with great optimism that the scheduled sessions will not just inspire you, but also drive you to make commitments of creating a world where every woman has the opportunity to lead and make an impact. Thank you.
Welcome, Global Power Women. All right, now we have just the distinct pleasure and honor and privilege of having the President of the Republic of Kosovo here today, Her Excellency. And I have to commend you, there are lots of ways to compare countries, but Kosovo has surpassed US in this category. Born on May 17, 1982 in Mitrovica, Republic of Kosovo, and graduated from the Faculty of Law of University of Pristina and completed her master's and doctoral studies at the University of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, US. She was elected as the Assembly of the Republic of Kosovo for 5 terms. Before being elected, she served as Chair of Parliamentary Committee on Foreign Affairs and the Committee on European Integration, and was a former Deputy Chair of the Committee on Constitutional Reform. Since 2006, she's been in the Faculty of Law at the University of Pristina, where she's also lectured in the University of Pittsburgh as a visiting professor. For several years, she's also lectured at RIT in Kosovo and ABB Reinvest College, and has held thematic lectures at other universities in Europe and the United States. From 2006 to 2010, President Osmani served as Chief of Staff of President Sinju and Senior Advisor on Legal Affairs and International Relations. She's represented the President on the Commission for drafting the Constitution for the Republic of Kosovo. She was a member of the representative term of the Republic of Kosovo in the case before the International Court of Justice regarding the declaration of the independence of the country. On February 3rd, 2020, Ms. Osmani was elected as the first female Speaker of the Assembly of the Republic of Kosovo, and on November 5th of 2020, she became the acting President of the Republic, offices she held until March 22nd, 2021. She's been honored by the University of Pittsburgh with the Chef International Award, and is a member of the Parliamentary Network on the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, and a member of the Steering Committee on the Young Deputies of the World Bank and the IMF. She speaks English, Turkish, Serbian, Croatian, and communicates in Spanish. She's married to Printon Sidru, and they have twin daughters, Anda and Dua. She lives in Pristina, and on April 4th, 2021, she took office as the President of the Republic of Kosovo. Let's give a huge welcome.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction, ladies and gentlemen, the organizers. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. The UN General Assembly Week is indeed a very dynamic time. yet I always find the time to meet inspirational leaders, everyday advocates, people who believe in a future centered on values that have taken our societies to new heights. Leaders such as yourselves. As I stand here to reflect on possibilities to advance resilience and transformational women leadership, I'd like to immediately make one thing clear. In our quest for progress, growth, and sustainable development, it is essential to recognize that leadership knows no gender. In a world where diversity is an asset and equality stands at the foundations of every action, it is only rightful that leadership is perceived as gender-blind. In the face of this perspective, when we advocate for transformational leadership, we are advocating for a world where the contribution of women is valued and celebrated equally alongside of our male counterparts. But most importantly, when we advocate for transformational leadership, let's first acknowledge that empowering women is not a zero-sum game. When women succeed, society as a whole benefits at large. Gender equality is not only about taking away, it's not about taking away from one gender to empower the other. It is about creating a more balanced and equitable world for everyone. Gender equality is not women's issues. It is the most pressing issue that our society, the entire society, a society of men and women alike, must deal with. And as we are faced ever more with global disruptions, one cannot underestimate the power of diversity in leadership and inclusion. Let us not forget the remarkable spirit of resilience that women leaders embody. Women have shattered glass ceilings, have overcome obstacles, and persevered in the face of adversity, historic challenges, and everyday hurdles. This resilience is not just a testament to our individual strength, but it should serve as a source of inspiration to all. I see leadership in this room. I see power, strength, and resilience that is unprecedented. I recognize immediately a determination to never stop chasing for something better, a better present, and a better future. The perseverance, the unshakable resolve, and principled action, I find this in my country every single day. I find these in the words and actions of girls and women all around the world. Women leadership, as we refer to it today, goes way beyond the profound importance of individual achievement. A woman leader will inspire countless others to aspire to greatness and to break the cycle of gender inequality. In our pursuit of advancing resilience and transformational women leadership, it is imperative to empower and uplift women from all walks of life. This means providing equal opportunities in education, in employment, as well as in leadership roles. It means challenging stereotypes and biases that persist in all of our societies. It means fostering an environment where women can confidently step into leadership positions, knowing that their voices will be heard, their ideas valued, and their contributions recognized. It means doing one single thing, not standing on their way. The more we embrace gender equality, the more we stand a chance to secure long-lasting peace. Not just peace in the traditional sense of conflict resolution, but peace in a much broader context. Peace within communities, peace in the workplace, and peace in our hearts and minds. Their leadership is characterized by an unwavering commitment to dialogue, cooperation, and finding common ground. It is a leadership style that seeks to unite rather than divide, to heal rather than hurt, and to build bridges rather than walls. When women are granted the opportunity to speak and participate in leadership roles, profound transformational change occurs. the unique perspective brought to the table, shaped by individual experiences, the empathy, and an unparalleled commitment to nurturing and building communities. That is what makes the difference. And then you can stop but wonder, why would an entire society risk the transformative effect of gender equality? Why is it not clear yet to everyone that it simply makes sense? It makes moral sense, it makes economic sense, it just makes sense in all the right ways. And as we strive to fully embrace the idea of the existential importance of gender-blind leadership, we can't help but wonder, how do you enforce that premise globally, make it sustainable and acceptable to all? I would say it takes courage, it takes leadership, it requires an open heart and mind, but it also requires concrete action. To succeed in this endeavor, it first needs acceptance. Our society must accept that things need to be done in a different fashion. It needs communication. We must never stop promoting the work and achievements of women, leaders that are taking our societies to new heights. And it requires determination. A determination to never compromise the ambition of gender equality, no matter how hard, no matter the hurdles, no matter the struggle. As women's leadership is still underrepresented in many parts of the world, and gender bias persists in numerous sectors in almost all spheres of life, we must work tirelessly to break down these barriers. This means promoting gender equality in education, employment, and leadership positions. It means becoming relentless when challenging stereotypes and biases that have always limited opportunities for women. This means starting with our very own cycles, our tiny little cycles at home, at work, friendship cycles, professional ones. A transformative action with great global potential starts with a single step. I am confident that in this room, you have already walked very, very long miles. But remember, the world is much bigger than our cycles. I invite you to embrace its magnitude and challenge it every day. Challenge it with a new action that contributes to an enhanced gender equality. In conclusion, advancing resilience and transformative leadership for global impact is not a choice, it's a necessity. It is our collective responsibility to nurture these qualities in ourselves as well as in future generations. In doing so, we can create a world where adversity is met with resilience and leadership is synonymous with positive, lasting change. I'm confident that women stand at the very heart of this positive, lasting change. So stand with us as we walk forward through the unbeatable spirit, resilience, and the visionary power of transformational leadership. Thank you very much.
Wow, that's one way to get started. Thank you, President Asmani. Well, we thank the President for joining us and for kicking off this incredible session. I'm excited to continue to follow her career in the years ahead. Now we have a special treat with us today. We have Representative Rosalind Henderson Myers, who's a member of the South Carolina House of Representatives, to tell you a little bit about her illustrious biography. Ms. Henderson Myers is an attorney and born in Spartanburg, South Carolina. She's a graduate of Tulane University and University of South Carolina. Her professional experience includes not only a career as an attorney, but the owner of her own law group, the Henderson Law Group, and a career on the bench in the judiciary. She served as a state court judge of Alabama and as a senior trial attorney at Allstate Insurance Company from 2010 to 2014, and has had an extensive career in law practice since 1993. She was elected to the Spartanburg City Council in 2015, and currently a member of the House of Representatives of South Carolina from the 31st District, serving since 2017, and is a member of the Democratic Party. She serves on the House Judiciary Committee. In 2022, she was on the 12-member House Ad Hoc Committee that held public hearings on House Bill 5399 that bans abortions. She currently serves as the secretary of the South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus, and we are so honored and privileged to have you today. Please join us, and we look forward to your remarks on the stage. I have to tell you, I'm partial because my mom and my stepdad live in the beautiful state of South Carolina. I'm excited that you're bringing the sunshine to us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Righty. It's so good to see this room full of people and full of women, and I think it's a good thing that we talk a little bit about some of the issues involving women. And as you heard from my bio, I am a legislator, and as a legislator, we make policy. And when we make policy, we look for needs. You know, what is there a problem or something? And so we identify the problems so that we can identify a need. And so that's what we're supposed to be doing as legislators, although I'm not sure that some of us have got that memo yet. But that's what we're supposed to be doing. And so when we do that and we make policy, often we have subject matter interest groups, lobbyists, and others who would suggest or advocate to us for new policy. And in doing so, we usually will introduce legislation to correct the problem, to add additional measures to help tackle a problem, or additional procedures to add protections. And when I author a bill that hopefully will become legislation, I always focus primarily, and I'm not making any excuses, I focus on women's issues. And I focus on women's issues because so often we are behind the 8 ball. We're ignored. We often are treated like we're inferior. We are often told that, well, you know, you're not part of the good old boy club. Well, I don't have to be a part of the good old boy club to be able to make my voice heard and to be able to help women. And so what I've done in my career, for the most part, is I have passed legislation, authored and passed legislation, to try to elevate women. And it's important that we look at equity. You heard the First Lady of Kosovo talk about equity. And so equity to me means STEM education for more girls growing up and helping them to get into those fields where men have traditionally dominated. And for training and education and those careers as perhaps engineers or accountants, professions that are traditionally for men. And then business ventures and collaborations. We need equity in that area. And we need equal pay. And I don't know if any of you all know, but in terms of in the United States, it takes a woman 10 months
to make what a man has made since in January. Let that sink in. 10 months. So that's a problem. And we've got to try to come up with a plan. And so maybe we can get that across the finish line, as we say in the legislature, and try to do something about that, because that is something that really, really, really needs our attention. And in terms of legislation, there are some things that women across the globe agree on. For instance, I recently had dinner with the First Lady of Sierra Leone. And she is very intentional, very much involved. And she has used her power and her voice to help women and girls in Sierra Leone. And I thought it was really interesting when we had that conversation, because she has done something that myself and other women in the South Carolina legislature have also taken up and passed the bill. And that is that she noticed that girls were not coming to school. They were missing so many days out of a month for school. And the reason why they were missing is because they didn't have money to buy feminine products. And so she went to Parliament and got them to pass a bill making feminine products in Sierra Leone free for anyone who wants them. And so when that happened, then the students were able to go to school every day. It increased their grades, and it helped them to further their education. And in South Carolina, we have what we call the Period Packing Project. And we do the same. But in the Period Packing Project, we have galvanized communities to get together and have what we call these period packing parties. And so they gather these goods from all over the community, all over the city, and they package them up and they give them to girls who are in need. We also have made, in the South Carolina legislature, feminine products tax-free. And so, you know, that really, really lessens the price. And so, you know, it's not much, as some people might say, but it's something. And every little bit that you can do helps. And you know, we always have problems with babies and with mother mortality, maternal mortality. So we're trying to tackle that in South Carolina as well. And it's particularly impactful to minority women who have a higher percentage of maternal mortality. So that's a challenge. And then I don't know if you all have heard about the abortion issue in the United States. When the Supreme Court decided that they were going to override Roe v. Wade. But that is a hot button in South Carolina and in the nation. And it has galvanized women all over the country. And so I want you to take a look when we have elections, this November and next November, and see how many women come out. Because it doesn't matter how you come down one way or the other, that's an issue that everyone should weigh in on. Domestic violence. At one point, South Carolina had the highest rate of women suffering from domestic violence in the country. And not only in the country, but in my area, in the upstate portion of South Carolina that I represent, it was the highest in the state. So we have done some things to try to tackle that problem and come up with a solution. And one of the things that I did was I authored a bill, and I put it in a name change bill that gave a woman the opportunity to come to South Carolina, flee from domestic violence, and to be able to change her identity, change her name, change her address. But she did not have to go through a waiting period of being in that state. And she could have her record sealed so that she or he, let me be not as biased, as I can, because you have perpetrators who are men and you have perpetrators who are women. So let me just say that person can come to the state of South Carolina, not have a waiting period. Our waiting period for name changes are now 6 months. But when you can identify yourself, or you just tell the judge that you're a victim of domestic violence, you can have that hearing immediately, and you can have all your records sealed, such that the person can. So it's the things that we do step by step by step, and they may seem like small steps, but to the people that they really affect, they are huge steps. There was one thing that I want to tell you that we as women legislators can make a difference. And we can make a difference. I've seen that most recently, in which I introduced a bill for nursing mothers in the workplace in South Carolina. It gave nursing mothers a time breaks to be able to nurse, to pump their breast milk. And it also gave them a private place that employers were required to provide. So what does that do? You might ask. And so I'll tell you. What it does is it allows women to not have to be out of work. It prevents employers from having to find someone to replace a woman employee, so they don't have to train and retrain. In addition, there are health benefits to the baby and to the mother. And one final thing I did in the bill was I put in some protections, so that if an employer decided that he or she was going to not follow the law, well, guess what? That woman employee has the right to go and complain and file a complaint, which will be heard by the state. And I'm so proud because I just recently found out this past May that that bill that was passed in South Carolina that I authored was used as a model bill for a federal law. Congress took up that law, they passed it, and it was signed into law by President Biden in December. So now it's federal law. So when we look at, as women, there's a lot we can do. We must fight for other women. We must be persistent. And we must be, what? Intentional. And we have to be knowledgeable. As women leaders, we have to take this charge serious. As they say in my sorority, it's a serious matter. But it is a serious matter. And so, as an attorney, I learned to fight for people in the courtroom and fight for the least of us. And I decided that I wanted to take it further, and so now I'm a PhD candidate at the Nelson Mandela School of Public Policy. PhD to try to help the least of us. And then I also teach, I help other students, but I teach at the FMI Bible College in its PhD program. And so I'm helping to fill a need and to do something about it. So I ask of all of you, and I give you a charge. Lead by example. Lead by working hard. Lead with passion, and lead with excellence. But lead. And so finally I say to you, embrace this challenge, lead.
You heard that, ladies? Thank you, Representative Anderson Myers. All right, so we're moving on to our first session. And the topic is being the female in a male-monopolized terrain, lessons in resilience and strategy. And I'm so honored to introduce Kasia Resareska, who is the Executive Vice President of Social Impact and Sustainability at Weber Shandwick. She has nearly 20 years of experience as a social impact executive, business strategist, and corporate communicator. Throughout her career, she spearheaded and implemented multi-stakeholder campaigns addressing critical issues such as human rights, diversity and inclusion, women's empowerment, public health, and sustainability. Her portfolio includes collaborations with Fortune 500 companies, tech startups, multilateral organizations, global NGOs, and prominent individuals as well. Beyond her work on global campaigns that enhances brands for clients in the US and internationally, Kasia provides guidance to organizations striving to make meaningful progress in today's most pressing societal issues. Before joining Weber Shandwick, Kasia focused on corporate communications and nonprofit public engagement. Her endeavors include initiatives like increasing access to life-saving medicines in the middle and low-income countries and fortifying the global medicines supply chain at U.S. Pharmacopoeia. She also played a pivotal role in developing a communication strategy for a leading American multinational technology company's 2030 sustainability goals. Notably, she was instrumental in establishing a groundbreaking women-led social enterprise in Rwanda for a U.S. apparel company, which is now an integral part of its global supply chain and invests in the broader community of its suppliers. Additionally, Kasia led public engagement programs in South Africa following the release of the country's Truth and Reconciliation Commission's final report, collaborated with the Ministry of Health and Education in Malawi to destigmatize HIV and AIDS, and spearheaded awareness campaigns focused on documenting the history and enduring impacts of the Canadian Indian residential school system. The effort culminated in the largest class action settlement in the Canadian history. Let's give a huge round of applause for Kasia Resareska.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm supposed to be leading here, but I don't know how to follow after the dignitaries and these incredible leaders that we've already heard from today. Well, I'm supposed to speak about resilience, and let's talk about it. So, resilience. Over the course of my career, I've seen what resilience looks like. I've seen the courage, the strength, the determination necessary for women to overcome odds and scale the mountains of adversity that we face in society. I consider myself as someone who's strong, who's brave, determined, sometimes too determined. I worked very hard to overcome many obstacles to get to where I am professionally, personally. I'm considered a leader. And yet, when Dr. Yami invited me to speak here today, the first thought that came to mind is why? Why me? Why does she want me to speak? What could I possibly bring to this group of incredible women and men? What could I possibly add value to here? Imposter syndrome. I'm sure you've heard of it. I'm sure you felt it, and some of y'all, like me, Maybe feeling it right now, right? So, imposter syndrome and this what am I doing here is a constant loop, round and round, basically asking myself, or more doubting myself and my skills. Feeling that I don't belong here, that there's surely someone else, usually a man, who is more qualified, who can do a better job, who can create the strategy, make decisions, and lead the work. And yet, I proudly spent the first half of my career working in the nonprofit sector on some of the most pressing issues in the world. I worked for a human rights organization. I worked in post-conflict countries, trying to bring to justice perpetrators of war crimes and criminals. I worked for a public health organization, raising awareness and trying to destigmatize what HIV/AIDS is in East Africa. I worked for a refugee resettlement organization here in New York, helping Cuban and Haitian refugees set up a new life in the U.S. And also in New York, I worked with an organization that taught girls, young school-aged women and girls, what the difference is between coercive control and consent. We taught them about and talked to these students about the gender-based violence that usually follows coercive control. And that's just the nonprofit sector. I've done a few other things there. Today, as was mentioned earlier, I work for corporations and other large organizations who are trying to do the right thing on issues like sustainability, human rights, gender rights, and so on. This work is my life. And for me, resilience goes beyond my work. I arrived in the U.S. in 1981 as an illegal immigrant from Poland. My parents had no money, no language, no body here in the U.S. to help them settle in and navigate what it is to be an immigrant. For 7 years, we lived in the shadows of society. We were illegal, and that meant constantly fearing being deported and fearing what that may look like if we were to be sent back. I watched my mother work back-breaking jobs. She would stand for hours on the ice-cold production line in a meat packing factory. She earned an unlivable wage, working without papers at a motel as a housekeeper. She was exploited, she was mistreated, she had little support from my abusive father. And she didn't think she had a voice to speak up or the power to speak up. But she didn't give in. She was resilient. 10 years ago, I worked on a project that represents strength and resilience and courage and the limitless power of women and girls. Women who, as we often see, across all aspects of life, are the backbone of societies. Women are the ones who lift each other and hold one another and stay cool and calm when times get hard. They are the ones who push forward at any cost to pave the way for future women, for leaders, future generation of women leaders. I'm not talking about the leaders that we celebrate on stages, on the world stage like today, or this week, as we know, there are many in the city. No, I'm talking about the leaders who have the ferocity and the resiliency to make progress, the ones who, despite the devastating reality that they survive in, march on. In this case, I'm talking about the women of Masoro, which is a hillside village outside of the capital of Rwanda, 20 miles outside. I was fortunate enough to work with a woman named Sydney Price, a woman who has the vision and the guts to change the way her company, Kate Spade New York, invested in women. She felt there were more impactful ways, better than philanthropy, to changed the course of a woman's trajectory by investing in her and giving the opportunity to be part of their economic ecosystem. So I was hired to lead her team to create a for-profit social enterprise in the town, in the village of Masoro. Many of the women who would work for this organization were orphans and widows of the genocide. For the project, I helped to create the organizational framework and the business model. In Rwanda, I led the team that was responsible for finding the community we would work with, finding the actual physical space. We intentionally created a program that would pull the women into the value chain of the company, of the organization, of the supply chain. We intentionally created programming that would teach the women the skills that they needed, skills like logistics and supply chain, HR, and engineering in the apparel sector. We thought that that was a way to keep women's work and their value sustainable. A 30-something New Yorker with a shaved head, an unconventional background, someone who really never fit in anywhere. I had zero experience building a commercial enterprise, let alone building something in Rwanda. What was I doing? Someone who couldn't possibly relate to women who have been through so much. That's what I thought. Women who have seen unspeakable tragedy. What was I doing? Why was I given this role? I doubted myself. I thought I'd be discovered. I thought I'd be called out for being a fraud. It was awful. It was terrifying. I had to convince government men and community leaders who were obviously and naturally, understandably skeptical of us, that our plans were good. We had to convince them that we were able to build this thing that was going to benefit the women, the community, and of course, the supply chain that Kate Spade had. I had to build their trust when I didn't really, at times, trust myself. I had to really reach deep and remind myself why I was there, that we were there to do something good, something smart. But my experience and the trajectory of my life brought me there. I had the brain, I had the grit, I knew I can do it. Today, the women of Masoro are thriving. They have an independent, employee-owned factory that has more than 250 women working full-time jobs with health benefits and access to education and wellness programs. Not my doing, it's there. Today, 63% of the women employees at that factory own land. 78% feel that they can make decisions about their reproductive health on their own or in partnership with their partner. For every woman employed in Masoro, 3 women in her community feel the direct benefit. You can go into a store today or go online, Kate Spade, and buy a product, a handbag that was made in Masoro, made in Rwanda. What started out as a daydream, right, and a theoretically feasible idea, and then a workable concept, is now today a B Corp certified global supplier. This is the definition of social impact. It's not the result of a wealthy individual or a corporate foundation trying to help disenfranchised women. It's because of the smart investment that was made possible in partnership, founded upon the strength and the unflappable nature of women around the world. It's an honor to be here with you all today. I've been blessed with countless opportunities to witness and celebrate the successes of women who push through. who push through adversity with the strength and courage and see the boundless fruit of their labor. The women of Masoro are just one example. My mother is another, and I think one day I'll be an example too. But when I walk into a boardroom or step into a client's office or present a business strategy, speak from this podium, I'm often hit with anxiety. My palms are sweaty, my heart rate races, and I hear that endless loop that I'm an imposter. It's at those times that I think back on the incredible women that I've worked with, who've been through so much, who've persevered and have achieved success. That mental exercise of reminding myself, telling that story, gives me the confidence I need to know that I am good enough, maybe even greater. Really reminds me that I do belong here, that I'm a leader. As early as I can remember, my mother always gave me this lesson. She said, life will be hard, doors will be closed, but you put all that you have into it and you'll find your way. And if you can't get through the door, try the window. Thank you.
That was incredible. Let's give another huge round of applause. Thank you for the impact you're having all over the world. And I'm sure all of us are wondering, so what is the secret sauce to these women? So we're about to find out. The first panel session is titled Confidence, the Secret Sauce to Propel Women into Leadership Positions. And I have, really the distinct honor to introduce a friend who is currently the Queen's Deputy Borough President, who will be moderating the next panel. And I just want to share, a short story about how I got to know her. So in a previous life, I served as the Queen's Deputy Borough President myself. And, when I decided that I wanted to work more citywide, I went to the amazing Queensborough President, Jonathan Richards Jr., and let him know way ahead of when I was planning to leave, because it was important to me that my leader had everything that he needed. We were in the throes of COVID. Queens was the epicenter of the world for COVID. Even within New York City, there was a lot of challenges that we were facing. Now, by that point, we had become the most vaccinated county in the country, but still there were so many challenges to overcome. And I took the risk of being treated as a lame duck. Often when you tell your employer that you're leaving, that they sort of dismiss you. But what happened was that he actually brought in someone that I think was an upgrade to what I could offer. And we call ourselves the world's borough of Queens because we have 230 plus languages and ethnicities and nationalities. We're the world's borough, but what Ebony Young did is actually make it the world's borough because she just returned from Lagos, Nigeria, with the borough president, the first Black borough president, and his first time going to Africa. So I have to thank you for that. She's truly making international ties for Queens, and I cannot thank you enough for that. Ms. Young has 20 years of executive leadership experience and is an advocate for people and is a lover of progress. Let's give her a huge round of applause and don't we love Rhonda? Let's hear it up for Rhonda!
Women, no one can take away, rob you, or hijack you of your power unless you allow them to. We are in this room today because we have forbidden being robbed. We have forbidden being hijacked. We come together as a collective to increase and elevate our power. I am so happy to be here, and here are my learnings from today first, that I'm so happy that I've already taken away. Leadership and impact. Leaders are doers. Disrupt the norms. Pave paths for the future. Collective strength. A shared vision. And a transformation with intent and knowledge to only find your way. I appreciate all the women who've come before me. So today what we are going to learn is from other women who can give us insights and intellect to building our confidence. So if our panelists could come up here, I'm going to call them one at a time. Tanya, Shaya, Deepika, Marwa, and Bolake. If you could all come up and join me. But what I'm going to allow them to do is, as I ask them questions, they will give you a little bit of excerpt of who they are, what they do, and then answer a couple of the questions. So I am learning myself. Are these the only three that we have here today? Okay, we got it. So first, let's do this. Let's introduce ourselves really briefly, and then I'll start off with asking a couple of questions. If you go first, yes.
So I am Chaya Pomula.
Okay, and what do you do, Jack?
I'm Chaya Pomula, and I'm the co-founder, president, and CEO of Tanten. We are a global technology services company. And I also have two non-for-profits that I founded. One 16 years ago, it's called Softkin, for bringing, giving life, literally transforming the lives of underprivileged children in India. And then I also have another non-profit called SheTech, where we are trying to bring more women into tech industry.
Beautiful, love it. Thank you. I'm Marwa Hussain. I'm the Program Director for Agriculture and Natural Resources at Care Egypt Foundation. Beautiful. Thank you, fabulous. Egypt, beautiful. We love Egypt. Who's been to Egypt? Raise your hand if you've been to Egypt. Okay, great.
Hi everyone, I'm Deepika. I am the founder and president for Deepika Consulting Services, which is a women-owned and women-run consulting services for technology.
Let's give it up for the power of this stage. We are going to start off with Shaya. And Shaya, this is your question. How do you inspire and empower other women to be confident leaders? Even though you have the confidence, how do you then bring that gift to others?
Thanks for the question. I think first I would like to define what confidence means to me personally. For me, it's before I could even speak about confidence, I feel that it's important that we know who we are.
Right.
And it took me a while to even know who I am, because I grew up in Indian culture, and it's a pretty male-dominated culture. And also the young women are seen to be more, in alignment to the compliance or the principles of how you live, your family culture and everything, not necessarily questioning or challenging anything. So I always used to feel proud about